大家好，我是依然。电车在欧洲的第2季，我们继续连载。很多朋友啊，对于奥迪、宝马、大众、通用在中国雇佣中方的这些经理人啊，他们熟悉中国的文化、市场、消费者的习惯、媒介，还有这里的经销商网络，然后帮助这些国际品牌开展在中国业务的本地化。大家对于这些事情习以为常，但是我们中国的企业走出去的时候会面对什么呢？3月份在德国的慕尼黑，我们就有幸和这个长城公司欧洲区的市场总监 Simo 有一个午餐兼采访我和文翰问了他好多问题一上来呢，这个首先我请他做一个自我介绍，讲讲他的职业履历非常有意思的是，作为一个德国人，他似乎整个汽车职业生涯都在为来自东亚的这个品牌工作，首先是日本的本田，然后是在起亚的很多年，而现在他又转战到了中国的长城汽车。
I've been working in the automotive industry for a bit more than 20 years, and I worked for Asian car companies all my career, starting with Honda, Japanese, worked on the motorcycle and on the car side, and then I spent a total of 12 years at Kia.
Yeah.
Working for the European headquarter, starting from 2007, long time ago, building up structures, processes in their European headquarter. I've had a marketing director position for Nissan in Germany, Austria and Switzerland. So 21 years, Asian car companies, European headquarter, German market, and also having a lot to do also with retail network. So quite broad experience that I can now use here to set up our structures in Europe.
Yeah. Which car do you own now?
I have a very old car that you may not even have heard about, and the brand is called De Tomaso.
Never heard about that.
It's an Italian brand.
Okay.
They were founded in the 1960s. Quite successful at the time, so 60s and 70s. For some time they owned Maserati, they owned Ducati, so the motorcycle brand. But yeah, they went bankrupt sometime in the 1990s. And they produced one car that you may know because it has been huge in the US back then, which was the De Tomaso Pantera, mid-engined sports car. And I have the coupe version of that car, which was only produced 400 times in 16 years of production time.
Have you ever owned an electric car?
Yes, I do also have an electric car. Currently, I'm still driving a Kia EV6 from my previous company. So it was my previous company car, so I just bought it. And I'm still using it.
接下来我就问 Simo， 这个长城的2个品牌欧拉和魏在当地市场该怎么实现从0到1？虽然当时呢，我已经在欧洲周游了很多国家，做了很多的考察，也已经感受到中国车去欧洲绝非一日之功，绝对不容易。但是听到一个当地人，一个经营当地汽车工业、市场营销这么多年的资深人士，亲口把这些困难带着细节讲给我，确实还是让我印象非常非常的深刻。大家看看他怎么说。
My question is that for the European markets, they know German brands, they know Italian brands, they know even Britain brands, and Japanese and Korea. But for them, I think a Chinese brand could be very, very new things. So how you gonna build up the brand image and try to be different with our Japanese and Korean neighborhoods?
Yeah. So first of all, I think what you experienced is, even though you just interviewed one person randomly, is pretty much what you will find if you interview more people.
Yeah. I guess so.
People, and even if you would talk to someone in the automotive industry, people do not know the new Chinese brands. They may have heard of one or the other, but they will be confusing them. They couldn't tell you what kind of models they have.
Yeah.
And if you go to the broader public, so you spoke to just someone from the public, they will even confuse Japanese, Korean, Chinese. And I have the same experience from my time at Kia. Even though, of course, some people in Europe see China critically, so that has political dimensions, there's economical dimensions. It's this West-East kind of thing that has been there for decades. You will not erase that from people's head. But generally speaking, when it comes to consuming a Chinese product, even a car, which is a high investment product, most people are relatively blank sheet of paperish, if you know what I mean. Some of the worries that people have, because when Brilliance, Landwind, and also Great Wall tried 15 years ago to enter the market, they failed just because of that, because their cars were unsafe.
I knew this story when we at college still. Yeah. It's an old story.
And this is still in people's mind. They want to believe, especially in this market, Germany, that German cars are the best cars. And they will be the best cars. So this is a strong belief, because our industry is huge. Many people work in the automotive industry. We invented the automobile. So this is what people like to believe. So we need to overcome these, let's say, historical knowledge, because people went like, this brand for me has like a cheap image. Can I trust in Korean cars? Back then, Korean brands were not high quality brands.
Yes.
Or at least the perception was in Europe was different. And this is how they gave a rational argument, first of all to themselves, but then also, it's important, to their peer groups, friends, family, colleagues, because you need to justify when you buy, in our case now, a Way Coffee 01. People in your neighborhood, your colleagues, they will say,
What the fuck is that?
what happened? What went wrong? I'm exaggerating a bit, Did you lose your job? Do you have to, you have to downgrade because you were always driving this, I don't know, VW or maybe even this Mercedes? Even if it was a used Mercedes that these people bought, doesn't matter. They were driving a Mercedes. So now you drive this, I don't even know what it is. How come?
I think in Europe the road condition are very
Complex.
Yeah. Italian has Italian situation, German has German situation.
Southern Italy has different situation than Northern Italy.
Yes. In Italy, when we do the driving, there is no line on the road. It could be 3 cars running together or 4. Depends on how you think, how you look at it.
Racetrack everywhere.
That's Rome.
Yeah. Even in Milan and Turin, many roads are like this. It's totally not like Germany. So I think the development of autonomous driving system could be quite hard. So is the language. There are tens of languages, so the voice command system could be
more than 40.
More than
languages.
40. So
we even have countries with 4 languages. In one country.
Belgium.
In Belgium 2, Switzerland has 4.
欧洲的多元性其实是很多中国人他难以理解的，因为我们中国5000年来习惯了集中和统一，但是欧洲一直分散和多元。这个汽车作为社会中的一份子，实际上它在产品上、技术上、尺寸上在造型上各个方面都会深受这个社会形态的影响。Simo 在采访中他说了一句名言，我不确定是不是欧洲社会流行的一个经典的话，他说这个世界并不存在欧罗巴合众国。这句话其实是暗指美利坚合众国是存在的，但是欧洲没有这回事儿。
So, but what you said about Europe is completely right. I always like to say the United States of Europe do not exist.
the United States of Europe.
Like the United States of America. Yeah. So the United States of Europe do not exist. And this is a very harsh reality for many companies that come from overseas, arrive here, I'm exaggerating a bit now, yeah, and believe that because we have the EU, everything is probably going to be kind of similar or the same. Is not. Yeah, we have all these languages, we have different legislation, we have different road systems, we have different cultures, we have very different topography, very, very different. And the market is super complex also from a legal perspective. Very, very complex. Strong customer data protection, for example. Yeah. Something that is very different in many other regions of the world. Yeah. We probably have the most regulated market, at least in the Northern Hemisphere. And also the road conditions you talked about, they differ from country to country. The rules are largely the same, but not completely the same. And when you turn left on a big junction in Munich, you have to do that differently than on a big junction in Hamburg. Yeah? So it's complex, I agree. And to answer your question, it would be not honest to say that this is not a challenge for the Chinese brands and manufacturers and companies coming to Europe.
除了欧洲的这种多元和复杂，实际上中国车企去欧洲还会遇到其他的一些问题，比如说用户的年纪差距很大，比如说他们对数据隐私的这种敏感性和我们完全不同。其实中国车过去不交学费那真是不可能的，这个反过来也一样。法国车当年来中国就为了中国人到底喜欢2厢车还是3厢车这个审美问题，他交了多少年学费，花了多少年标致学龙才知道在中国要认真的做3厢车，对吧？德国车来到中国交了多少学费才知道要做加长。这个 Simo 还举了个例子，比如说宝马品牌到中国，它可能会相对更重视一个官网，对 APP 反而没那么重视，但是中国人非常需要一个好的 APP。相反呢，中国车去到欧洲，可能我们觉得 APP 是重要的，但实际上在当地非常多的用户真正去看车之前，他们需要一个非常良好的官网。
And there will be a learning curve. Yeah. We will make mistakes in the beginning. How we design the utilization of the car. Yeah. Maybe too much in line with Chinese taste. Chinese new car buyers are very young compared to Europe. Yeah?
Exactly.
So a Chinese new car buyer is in his 30s on average. In Europe, in his 50s. Very different people, yeah? Very different culture, very different age, very different social status. And probably one could argue that some of the functions in our cars, the experience that you have when you drive, is probably still a bit tailored to what is actually requested in China and not so much what is requested in Europe. So that's something that has to be learned. And we are very honest and transparent about this. We need to learn about the European market. And the same goes for everything that's connected to the complexity, the different conditions, the different rules, the different legislations. This is why this company has started quite some time ago already to establish this headquarter to bring local people on board that understand this market in all depth and can actually give advice, recommendations and support this build-up process. But this doesn't mean that we will not make mistakes in the beginning, but that is what it is. Also, BMW probably made mistakes when they entered China, because they did not understand that a website doesn't matter in China and they didn't have a proper app. And here it's the other way around. We currently do not have a proper website because we focus too much on the app, which nobody really cares about, at least not in the beginning.
Yeah, in China, a lot of companies didn't develop a website at all.
I know. So for us, unthinkable, because a European customer, even people in their 50s, 60s or 70s, will do a lot of their preparation before buying a car, before even entering a showroom for the first time. They will do online. on the website. But this has to be understood first of all. Yeah? So, learning curve, we will not make everything right from the start, but our advantage, I believe, is that we can adapt relatively quickly.
后来呢，我们又问这个 Simo 啊，同为亚洲品牌，这个日韩现在已经客观上在欧洲的汽车市场分道贝根，而中国车才刚刚开始，啊，而且实际上我们知道，日韩在其他的电子消费品领域，在这个漫画、在音乐、在电影等等领域，其实在西方世界的影响力都做得还不错。那我们这个后来者，来自中国的玩家，该怎么去追上他们呢
？The Japanese products, I think that even the European people, they will had some good image of Japanese and Korea products, because Japan and Korea, they already built some reputation in other fields, like they have Sony,
Panasonic.
Right? Panasonic,
Samsung, for years.
Hitachi, yeah.
And for Korea, maybe the European young guys, they will know Blackpink, right? And they will know the Gangnam Style, right?
Yeah.
For the European young people or just a European citizen, they know very few about China.
Yes.
So from my perspective, it will be super difficult to build a trust for a Chinese brand. How will you do it?
Deutschland convenience store, we can even buy a comic book from the Dragon Ball. Yeah.
A Japanese.
Yeah, or 火影忍者. Yeah, Naruto. Japanese comic are quite popular here. So, yeah.
Yeah. No, and you're absolutely right. And I think I'm too young to have experienced times when this was equally difficult in the European market for Japanese and Korean brands. I mean, Korea, I think I experienced, let's say the last couple of years where this was really difficult. But meanwhile, other brands have actually also helped Korean car makers to pave the way. So more and more companies, I mean LG, for example, Samsung, they have paved the way. If people know that they are from Korea, they have also helped to pave the way for the car makers. And the same goes for the Japanese, but that was already, I would say, in the 70s, 80s, 90s. But if you talk to a dealer, for example, from back then, so they're still the oldest Honda dealer in Germany, for example. They started operations sometime in the 1960s, or early 1970s, I don't recall exactly. They were fighting against exactly the same problems. Mm-hmm. The cars arrived rusty already in the port. They had started to rust before they were actually delivered to the dealer. They were already rusty. And people thought Far East products that can only be bad quality. So society has learned. Japanese, it took probably 20 years to really start having success. For the Koreans, let's say it took maybe 10 intense years or 15. I think for us, as Chinese brands, it will take even shorter. I'm not saying all of the brands that are now trying to enter the market will make it. So that's not guaranteed. But I believe the openness in the society in general, and also the willingness to accept that quality can also come from other regions, especially at an attractive price, that has changed a lot. The openness is much, much bigger than it was 20 years ago or 50 years ago. But we need to have the right arguments. If you don't have a product that can either be superior when it comes to value for money, MG is a very good example for that. If you have that, you can succeed. They went from 0 to 1.5% market share in Germany last year. 1.5% market share doesn't sound much, but it's a lot. Yes, if you consider that 70% of the German market is taken by German company brands. So all importers, all of them, that do not belong to German companies, have 30% of the market to share amongst themselves. Japanese, Korean, French, Italian, American, Chinese, 30%. So they gained 1.5. That's great, but that was a value for money proposition and a broad lineup. We tackle on the other end. Yeah, we're not cheap. We're good value for money, but in the premium segment. And here you need product characteristics that are superior. But I talked about it before. Also, Aura obviously has, I think it's a bit of a different and more emotional positioning, but also they have technical features that you will not get in other cars at that price. And this is our way to attack.
So I want to ask a quite straightforward question. Why do we position itself as a premium brand here? Because when I watched YouTube, I saw that the medium will compare the Coffee 01 to Mercedes GLE and the BMW X5. Why do you position the car to the BMW and Mercedes?
Well, first of all, our positioning is a bit wider than that. So I think this was our benchmark, and this was our reference, Volvo as well, especially the XC60. But I think it makes a lot of sense because the product offers a very similar quality experience in the interior, but also from a technology point of view, we are quite clearly competing with brands in the premium sector. However, at a much more affordable price. So from a position for a marketeer, this is actually fantastic because we can tell a real story about this. We can position the car as, let's say, priced in the upper mainstream segment, but at the same time offering comfort, space, technology, performance, very similar or even on top of what the premium manufacturers do. So obviously our brand right now doesn't have any image, it doesn't have a premium image. This is what we need to work on. But quality-wise, technology-wise, we are on par. Sometimes even superior. If you look at our electric range, 146 kilometers in a plug-in hybrid, unbeaten. No one is offering that. So we believe we actually deliver against this promise of being premium, but at the same time we're offering people who were not able to afford premium so far to enter premium because the price is maybe comparable to a Hyundai or a Kia in this segment.
Yeah, I want to raise a simple question. What is the ultimate advantages for Chinese makers such as like Great Wall in this market?
Yeah. So, learning curve, we will not make everything right from the start, but our advantage, I believe, is that we can adapt relatively quickly. We can adapt faster than some of the big, let's say, dinosaurs that we have in the market. And this is not, I don't mean this negatively. Yeah? I'm not saying dinosaur is, they will die out. Yeah? But I'm saying they have been there for a long time. They are quite huge and not so flexible. And I think this flexibility will help us. And the willingness to learn, what I said before. I have not felt any arrogance on the Chinese top management side here in my first 7 months. Arrogance meaning, I hear what you say, but I don't care because I know it better. I have not experienced that a single time. We listen, we understand, and we try to make it happen. And this is what I think will be the success factor. If they accept the fact that only together we can succeed, because they know things and they can move things that I cannot know or move. In China, for example, at R&D, production, whatever, I cannot move anything there. And I'm also comparing to my last 20 years before. I think this is an exceptional quality that we have here. A strong willingness, an active demand even, to say and explain what is required. And not to come in and believe that we already know, even though we don't. That differentiates us.
OK，
我和文翰做完这次采访之后，其实感慨都还挺深的，因为 Simo 是我们这次在电车在欧洲第2季遇到的少有的对西方和东方都相对比较了解的这个当地人啊，他是欧洲通，但他跟亚洲公司有过足够多的打交道的经验，在本田跟现代有超过20年的职业经验。顺着他这个人，我也想说到，任何的事情的背后是人，对吧？你跑到欧洲做生意，表面上是你把车卖过去，你把你的企业流程，把你的投资，把你的文化，把你的制度带过去，但背后实际上你是要在当地捏合一个很好的管理层团队和员工团队。在这个过程中，你不可能全用中国人吧，对吧？你会大量的整合来自各个国家的这个西方世界的这个员工，那么你怎么能找到当地的优秀的管理者，当地的优秀的员工，并且有一个好的管理方法，能够把大家整合起来，很好的去开展工作。这个过程，你的语言能力你的跨文化管理能力、沟通能力你的这个流程是只适合中国国内的情况，还是能够兼容到欧洲你对当地的劳工法规和社会文化的这种适应能力，这里问题多了去了所以说呢，这事儿其实很不容易。毕竟我们中国公司实际上在过去的很多年来擅长干2个事情，一个是在中国开一家公司服务中国的用户，一个是在中国开一家公司替老外的公司打工，成为他们的供应链的一份子，帮他们提供物美价廉的中国制造的商品。但是我们自己冲出去在别人的地盘上去做生意，直接面对消费者直接组建体系齐全的这个组织，然后正常的去开展工作，并且工作效率要达到与同行足以竞争的水平。这个事情对咱们来讲其实是一个很新鲜的事儿过去干的比较好的就是华为先例并不是很多，我们在历史上并没有那么多像三星、索尼，像这个松下像现代起亚的这样的案例这个实际上我们的电影音乐也没有像日韩的那些同行那样真正的去走出去。所以出海毫无疑问对中国切身人来讲是一件很新鲜的事情，是一件很有难度的事情，是一件需要下定决心做漫长的努力，并且平静而这个坚韧的去接受阶段性的学费和困难的事情这是我在这里想要说的话我们下期再见。